Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be giving you my hopefully quick guide for how to complete the War Thunder Battle Pass challenges in Season 5 River Hunter most effectively. I'll be paying special mind to the most difficult tasks, but I will be going over each and every single one of them. Before I get into this video, please let me know what you think about my new profile picture and banner on my YouTube channel, as well as my new intro. Also, subscribe if you like guides and things of that nature, but that all being said, let's get into the video. So to start, Season 5 of Battle Pass will run from October 27th, 2021 to January 26th, 2022. It will have a total of 14 challenges to complete, with a 15th challenge basically being a challenge to complete all of the other challenges. Of the 14 main challenges, 11 of them have 3-week time limits and start in weekly increments, whereas the other 3 challenges start when you reach levels 20, 40, and 60 respectively. Those 3 challenges only have a time limit that runs out once Battle Pass ends. Additionally, unless otherwise stated in the challenge description in-game, all challenges will require rank 3 or higher vehicles to complete. That said, let's get into the challenges themselves and how best to complete them. Now, I'll be going over the challenges as they will appear chronologically, meaning that I'll go over the first challenge first, second challenge second, and so forth, paying again special mind to the most difficult challenges. Bear in mind that many of these challenges are simply just based on playing your favorite vehicles in order to complete them. So to start, let's get into the first challenge, and that's gluttonous catfish. Destroy or help allied players destroy 250 player vehicles. This one runs from the day that Season 5 starts, October 27th, through November 17th. Basically, it's just saying to get 250 frags in any vehicles that you'd like, with frags meaning both kills and assists. So once you hit your 250 kill and assist total, you'll complete this task. Let's say that you get 150 kills and 100 assists, you'll also complete the task, so it's a total of the 2. Really, this one is all user's preference, so long as you use rank 3 and above vehicles. I found that a good way to get 2 or 3 kills consistently per match is to use the M163 SPAA in the American Ground Forces tech tree, but that is a relatively low amount of kills per match, meaning that you'll probably be stuck in a ton of matches in order to complete it if you go with that method. The easiest way to do this is likely to use mid-BR ground vehicles, regardless of if it's AB or RB, or mid-BR air battles, again regardless of if it's RB or AB. I will personally just be playing this game as I normally do, grinding out whatever tech trees I want to in order to get this done. But if I am in a time crunch, I'll probably switch to my mid-BR German air AB lineup and have at it, as I personally get around 10 plus kills per match around that BR with those planes in AB. But for most people who play even just a few matches per day, playing your favorite tech tree in your favorite game mode, regardless of if it's ground, air, or naval, should be sufficient to do this challenge with plenty of time left. For the second challenge, Dextrous Otter, receive 20 professional awards. Professional awards are given for every kill that you get over your 5th kill in a match, including your 5th kill. So, for example, if you have 9 kills, you'll receive 5 professional awards. You'll probably want to play this one very similarly to the previous challenge, Gluttonous Catfish, except that you may want to play more enemy-heavy game modes if you were not doing so already, like ground RB and AB as well as air AB, as these will provide you with the greatest chance of defeating more enemies and thus winning the most awards in a match. You can still very easily do this whilst grinding a tech tree, but if you're having trouble reaching that 5th kill per match requirement, my advice is to switch to a lineup that you're more comfortable with using. Third, Nimble Water Snake. Destroy 7 of each of the following types of ground vehicles: tanks, tank destroyers, and SPAA. This is again pretty similar to the previous challenges in that you should just use whatever you're best with in order to complete this. Being that there are 3 classes of vehicles to defeat and that tank destroyers are most common between 3.7 and 6.0 BR, especially if you're fighting against the Germans, I would say to play somewhere around give or take 5.0 BR with a fast vehicle that can flank German TDs, and then get behind enemy lines to defeat SPAA. The Hellcat is a perfect example of this type of vehicle. Additionally, using air vehicles is also possible here, so you may want to consider a good close air support plane to assist, especially against SPAA. This challenge actually goes perfectly with the next challenge, so there is some overlap where you can complete this and the next challenge at the same time. That challenge is Sharp-Eyed Osprey. Destroy 20 ground and naval player vehicles while using a strike aircraft. That's 20 vehicles total, at least per how it's written. If it does turn out to be 40 vehicles total with 20 tanks and 20 versus naval, my advice will basically remain the same, except that you have to work 2 times as hard to complete this challenge. Either way, this is basically one where you can use the vehicles that you feel most comfortable with using. Again, you can have major overlap with the previous challenge, completing them basically at the same time if you'd prefer. I will personally be using my ME262A1U4 Narwhal narwhal, and other cannon-based strike aircraft for this challenge, although your strike aircraft of choice is totally up to you, as they all pretty much do the same thing, even if they do that thing in different ways. If you're looking to defeat naval enemies with strike aircraft, I would advise to use something like a 500 kilogram bomb or larger, or a 1,000 pound bomb or larger, and try to avoid cannon-based aircraft, or at least aircraft that mostly have rockets as their secondary armament. Again, though, when facing tanks, the choice is yours, as all types of anti-ground ordnance can be extremely effective against tanks in the right hands. Just use whatever you're most comfortable with. 5th, Anaconda. Place 7 vehicles whilst being ranked first on your team. This one is self-explanatory. All you need to do is get in first place. It does not matter if you win or not, it just matters that you get in first. As always, your best chance with this one is to pick the vehicles that you're best in. Simple as that. I don't really need much further explanation, but a really strong BR, I guess you could say, is probably around 5.3, 5.7 VR Germany, so maybe you'll have an edge up if you use that BR lineup. 6th, Swift Eel. Destroy 10 enemy player vehicles using torpedoes. This one will be a bit tougher if you're not familiar with naval, but I would strongly suggest to use World War II naval vehicles, specifically the Japanese, as they have the best torpedoes in game, and it's not even close. They have the longest range by far, the best explosive yield by far, and are right near or at the top of the fastest torpedoes in game. Germany and the UK also have good torpedoes, especially what you'd find on the Prince Eugen being the G7A torpedoes. As a rule, I would generally avoid the US as they do not have great torpedoes. They typically have poor speed, poor range, and poor explosive filler. For vehicles, I'll say that the IJM Mikuma is the gold standard for this challenge, as it carries 24 ridiculously powerful torpedoes. Aside from that, and assuming that most of you are inexperienced with naval, I would still go with Japanese ships, as it takes only 2 ships to reach the IJN Isuzu in the Blue Water Tech Tree, with the Isuzu carrying 8 of those excellent torpedoes. Alternatively, if you have either the IJN Shimakaze squadron vehicle like I have, or the HMS Liverpool squadron vehicle, you should be set. Although, again, the Japanese ships are best for this, making the Shimakaze the squadron vehicle of choice. 7th, Nimble Kingfisher. Win 35 battles in Soviet vehicles. This one is also self-explanatory. Just use whatever tier 3 or above lineup you'd prefer, regardless of if it's air, ground, or naval, and regardless of your preferred game mode, and just win. Simple as that. Do well and you should have this challenge done fairly easily, although it could take a few days of just playing Soviet vehicles pretty hard. Being that the average win rate's around 51 or 52%, you'll probably have to play around 70 battles in order to actually get this done. Also, on a side note, I wonder if this extends to Russian vehicles, because they specifically mention Soviet vehicles in the details of this challenge. 8th, Voracious Nymph. Finish 30 battles in each type of vehicle: aircraft, ground, and fleet. This one is again user's preference. Just make sure to, along with every other challenge, use rank 3 and above vehicles. Just make sure to finish your matches, however, and you should be fine. For 9th, Bloodthirsty Piranha. Deal 30,000 damage using a coastal vessel. This is another one where it's basically user's preference, but because most people do not play naval all too much, some guidance is definitely warranted on this challenge. You'll need to use coastal vessels for this challenge, so anything rank 3 or above, again in the coastal tech tree. Further, your damage jumps up when you get a kill, meaning that if you do minimal damage to an enemy but land the killing blow, you'll get a huge jump in damage. Further, this only extends to coastal vessels, so planes will not be counted. Torpedoes are counted, however, so you may want to take a fast torpedo boat, such as the PT-15 in the Japanese tech tree or the PT-200 in the American tech tree. While the Japanese PT-15 is better and has far better torpedoes, the PT-200 by itself is no slouch. If you're not a fan of torpedoes, 3 of the best gun-based premium ships available are the Japanese PG-02, the German M802, and the Italian Sparviero. If you're not a fan of premiums, I would recommend the Germans with the SF-40 vehicles, as these can deal tremendous damage from a range, as well as the Russian PR-1124 and the PR-191 and the 191M ships, with special attention to the Russian ships as they are very well armored and have good firepower, all at an easy to access BR, so they'll be easy to reach via grinding. On a side note, if you have the Battle Pass reward ship, the PT-658, you should be able to deal tons of damage via your guns, as it looks to be incredibly heavily armed, especially for its size. 10th, Mighty Alligator. Receive 15 one-shot awards. Basically, this will be the easiest to do in ground RB and AB, as it is extremely rare in air matches or naval matches to kill an enemy with a single shot. A little bit less rare in naval matches if you have a good torpedo hit, but again, still not all too incredibly common. In this case, I would simply take a vehicle that you know will pen another vehicle, such as the Panther D, being that it has such a powerful cannon at a relatively low BR, and aim for enemy weak spots that are likely to hold ammo racks. Typically, in mid-BR games, you'll see these ammo racks along the sides of vehicles or on the floor, whereas top tier tends to have them or fuel tanks at the front of the hull behind sometimes thick armor or in the rear of the turret. As a little bit of self-promotion here, I do have some weak spot guides if you need some help finding those weak spots to earn those one-shot rewards. Either way, just get something with some punch in ground battles, again like the Panther tanks, or an M18 with the Americans, or even the FV4005 with the UK. Alternatively, it doesn't say that it needs to be tank on tank, so you can easily get into a 4.3 BR match with the Soviets using tanks like the KV-1 ZIS-5, ASU-57, and more, and then equip the PE-8 with a 5,000 kilogram nuke as its bomb. You will be guaranteed to get numerous kills with that bomb alone, unless you are incredibly inaccurate with it. 11th, ferocious bull shark. Win 15 battles whilst destroying at least 3 enemy vehicles in each battle. This one is another one of those user's choice challenges that don't really have a best vehicle to use. I will, however, say to play anything outside of Air RB for this challenge just due to the lack of enemies that you'll typically encounter in a match of Air RB, but the choice is certainly yours. 12th, biting spider. Destroy 20 player vehicles that are at least 1.0 BR or higher than your vehicle. This challenge unlocks at level 20 and has no time limit. If you play AB, I would strongly recommend using aircraft for this one, specifically ones that you know that will do well in up tiers. The reason why I say this is because tanks tend to have increasingly better armor as you increase BRs, meaning that a 5.7 BR vehicle in a full up tier such as the 75mm Jumbo might have a tough time beating a tank like the Jagdpanther or Ferdinand, whereas a plane such as the BF-109F4 is still going to be absolutely deadly to nearly all prop planes in game regardless of BR. This is because planes don't have a ton of armor, and the armaments carried on planes from around 4.0 BR onwards are deadly enough to make short work of nearly any enemy plane up through jets. Put simply, an MG-151 will demolish a P-51H or even a P-80, whereas a 75mm M3 cannon on a Sherman will have a very tough time beating, for example, an IS-2. While it is not necessary to play planes in order to complete this challenge, as it has no time limit, it may help if you're struggling to complete this challenge. For me personally, I would say any mid BR tier 3 air AB match should do the trick. A good way to complete this challenge is to make sure that you equip a higher BR vehicle in your lineup, so for example a P-51H5, and make sure the rest of your lineup is at least 1.0 BR or lower to ensure that the majority of planes that you kill are 1 BR or higher. Like I said, this can be done with ground or even naval, but air, especially air AB, is likely to be your go-to for this. Another option is to use the Centurion, as that has Sabo rounds and they can pen through almost any tank well over a BR above them. 13th, haunting hydraulicus. Receive 30 eye for an eye rewards. Basically, you need 30 revenge kills. I don't know why Gaijin is encouraging this sort of behavior, but it is what it is. Either way, this one is easy and is best done in maps where you can easily access enemy vehicles and where you know where their approximate position is, at least the ones who kill you. I would probably do it in mid to high BR tank matches, as people that kill you tend to be somewhat stationary or at least in a region, whereas in air matches or even naval matches, enemies could either be incredibly far away after they kill you or are impossible to spot properly, though you can certainly do this in air AB or naval matches. Also, a popular method of getting revenge kills is by spawning into an aircraft and going straight to the guy that killed you in ground matches. That's probably the easiest way to complete this challenge. Again, I do not condone such behavior, even though it seems that Gaijin does. And finally, 14th, cruel arapaima. Destroy 2 player vehicles in 15 seconds 10 times total. Basically, you just need 10 double kills. This is not going to be all that easy, as you need to ensure that you're close enough to numerous enemies and can kill them both. In my opinion, the best way to do this is with air AB, as you'll have tons of enemies to fight, especially in mid BR matches, and will easily be able to pick off 2 enemies from the tails of allied planes. If you like ground, however, I would recommend going with fast reloading vehicles such as the PT-16 M14 mod for the Germans, the Samua SM for the French, or really any of their auto-loaded vehicles, or something like the T-3457 or M6A1, as they both have relatively good cannons at low BRs and are still tier 3, all while being able to one-shot a ton of tanks that they might face. Ultimately, this comes down to reload speed and power of your main armament. You could of course also go into an aircraft and bomb enemy tanks that are clustered in small positions, such as behind cover or on capping points. Really though, this is a challenge again about users' preference, and the only vehicles that should totally be avoided are those with over an 8-second reload, especially the IS-2, as the reload is literally too long to actually be able to get a double kill unless you somehow get an MG kill or kill 2 enemies with 1 shot. But that all said, thank you all so much for watching. That's the end of the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and also tell me if you like my new logo, banner, and intro. Either way, thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.